Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Research Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, and we got a good show tonight. Got two special guests with us. You've seen these guys on Amazon Prime, on Tubi with their Harrisville haunting video, The Devil's Hour. Please welcome to the show Joe Vitale and Matt Benton. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hello.
So tell my audience a little bit about yourselves, how you guys got started in filming and into the paranormal.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, well, your face is on the front of it, so you should just do it.
I was going to let you go first. Be nice. All right. So where do I even begin, to be honest? I've had a YouTube channel for a while, and quite honestly, I didn't really care about it. I was like, just throwing crap on there, whatever. I started to get more interested in filming, actually, through photography. And I ended up taking a little course online to kind of help like navigate like editing software, stuff like that. It was helpful to a certain point, but it was also just freaking useless because at this point in time, newer things were coming out, and I'm like, oh, there's this and there's that, and I'm trying to learn everything. But at some point, though, through photography, I was like, film, like, holy crap, like this is really cool. The things that I could do, because normally, like the camera that I would have was like, I borrowed a friend's mirrorless camera, a nice Sony camera. And I was just messing with it and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, this is like, I could do some cool stuff. And like I said, that evolved into film making. So yeah, from that experience really got me into like wanting to film things. So I tried to incorporate that when I go off and investigate. And I started to do it more and more. And I loved it. I loved mixing, filming, and investigating and things like that. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of how I ended up getting into that whole mess.
Well, just want to mention, are you okay with it streaming on our other channels? I saw it as an option. Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
So we could, okay. I was going to promote your thing a little bit. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Beyond Life Paranormal Research Podcast. Go check them out on Facebook. I don't know if you guys are anywhere else.
We're on YouTube as well.
Okay, YouTube. Go check out YouTube also. So yeah, I guess a little bit about me. Nobody cares. I'm just kidding.
That was actually going to be my answer. Nobody cares.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, I've just been paranormal investigating since the summer of 2011. So when it really started for me, I had a personal experience at the Old Washoe Club that really got me started. I had personal experiences as a child too. That's what got me interested. But it wasn't until the summer of 2011 when I went to the Old Washoe Club in Virginia City, Nevada, where a piece of brick was thrown at me, not at me, near where I was. And I couldn't explain it. It got me hooked. It was right after I asked a specific question. If there's someone there, can please move something and make some kind of noise? Bam, piece of brick was thrown. And then that's what got me really hooked. So I was like, okay, now I want to do this for a living. And now look at where we're at.
Yeah.
13 years later. So.
Yeah. And for me, regarding the paranormal, I actually wanted nothing to do with it. Just long story short, had a horrific experience with the paranormal, wanted nothing to do with it. And I was just kind of like, I was kind of dragged into it were kind of coached into it. And this was like the early 90s. And that's it ever since. Just that's what I've been doing. So I've been doing it on and off for the past 30 years. But the past few years have been pretty wild, pretty busy.
Yeah, I know you guys put out a lot of videos, and I mean, I've seen the Harrisville haunting on Amazon and Tubi is both on there. I saw it's been advertised on there.
It was advertised on there?
Yeah, it's on there.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean it was in like the selection part?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. That's being promoted to actual people, and it's being promoted to people I think are interested in the paranormal. But for the first time recently, actually during Halloween, the first time I've ever seen it in the horror section. So I was surprised about that. I was like, "What the hell?" I was not expecting that.
Actually, still in the horror section.
Oh, really? I was
Yeah,
like, I was
still.
not expecting that. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's great because people are going to go click on it and be like, "Wait a minute, I thought this was a horror film."
I know, right?
What's going on?
It's a documentary, horror documentary. This next one is more of a horror documentary, to be honest. This next one, and it was specifically edited to be like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, definitely, definitely a very different feeling for sure.
can you talk about it or?
Yeah, we could talk about it. It was not, yeah, so Evil Unearthed is the next big project. I've been filming that one since 2017, all the way to 2024. When I say 2024, I mean we stopped filming at the Monroe House. Oh no, wait, still 2024 because Joe went back to go film some extra B-roll. So, yeah, so all the way to 2017 to 2024. So it's been a long process of capturing what we could, and one of the other investigators was investigating it since 2012 or 2013, one of those 2 years. And so we with all the collected evidence together, it's like over a decade of research and on this location. And so I've been holding on to some stuff from this location for a while, just because I knew that this deserved to be in a documentary. This shouldn't be a YouTube video. This deserves to be out there more. So after years of collecting, I decided to get the one big last hooray. What do you call it? I guess the hooray. Yeah.
Hoorah.
It's funny that they say it like the Marines, I guess. Okay, whatever. It feels awkward when you say it in the civilian term. So when it comes to our last little hurrah at the location, I was like, let's get the all paranormal research unit involved, and a friend of ours from that you've seen from the last documentary, which was Eric. And he really brings that energy there, the excitement factor, because Joe and I are very stone cold. We're like when something happens, we're like, cool.
All right, yeah, cool, whatever. What else you got?
Like, don't get me wrong, I still get excited sometimes, but it's but not the don't get scared. And so we have Eric, and then Helena got a little scared too, which is my wife. So those are the two that will bring a little bit of that fear factor. It's good for the evidence, in my opinion, and also the just film in general, because people like that kind of excitement. So
yeah, so like the documentary, so like the whole thing with the Monroe House was actually Matt was going to do something with it in his much younger days for Man versus Paranormal.
Yeah.
And for whatever reasons, Matt can explain if he wants a little bit here. It like wouldn't work out. And then we had another idea for it. Well, Matt had another idea for it. But
that didn't work out.
It just.
So it was funny, actually. I'll explain a little bit about that. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. So then, I kept telling Matt, I'm like, why don't we just do the documentary on the Monroe House? We have all this footage, years and years. I'm like, why don't we just do it? Matt's like, no, I want to do, something, whatever. And then Matt calls me and is like, I know where we're doing our next documentary. And I'm thinking, okay, new location, cool. The Monroe House. I'm like, God damn it, Matt, I've been telling you this. For how long?
It's funny because I think I forgot about it at the time, but the reason why is first off, I'll just say this: Man vs. Paranormal was an idea I had. It was I still think it's a fun and cool idea. It's just that I didn't have the right amount of cameras to film it properly, where it's entertaining. It's entertaining enough where you're by yourself the whole entire time. So I thought it was kind of boring for the limited amount of cameras I had, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna scrap this. Maybe save it for the future documentary. And then we thought of something else, which I'm still not going to really talk about because that's our third documentary idea. But we couldn't get access to the location long enough because we needed access for like over probably 2 or 3 weeks of time period in the location. And we couldn't get that. I tried multiple times to do it. Couldn't do it. So we couldn't do that experiment film idea that we have, which you'll see in the future with a different location. But so then I thought about it, another idea about the Monroe house, because, after going through everything I have and everything, I was like, you know what? I think I have just another idea for it. Yes, it was what Joe said, but also within the filmmaking aspect, it was also a little bit more intriguing. I felt like as a documentary filmmaker, I wanted this, and also a horror fan. I was like, this one could actually be a horror documentary. And so the things that we found, the things that we captured, this could be a horror documentary. So I was like, you know what? I want to do the Monroe house idea, which I forgot that Joe ever mentioned. And then probably subconsciously
Crow can back me on that.
No. I forgot. I honestly just forgot them. And so basically after that, what was I saying? Yeah, so after I thought of that idea of doing it as a horror aspect, I was like, I like this idea a lot. And so we did it, and it's turned out it's kind of like everything fell into our lap in a good way, with a lot of different things. So certain questions we got a lot of answers to. A lot of research was done on the location. And we are uncovering things about the Monroe house that is not publicly out right now. That is either not publicly out. Some of it is, but not on YouTube. Not on YouTube, not on TV shows. For some reason, it was only a blog on fucking Google that mentions some of this history. The rest, no one's talking about it, because it seems like most people in the paranormal field or the paranormal YouTube space doesn't do the research. Because I found this stuff, Joe found this stuff. Like, it wasn't very hard to find some of it. So it was like, I don't know. It's like people are just lazy in the paranormal, and they're just doing it for the entertainment mainly, it seems like.
Right. Or they're just hearing these stories and they're just passing them on. I mean,
yeah.
There were a lot of rumors about the place, certain things that supposedly happened that we know didn't happen, and then recently found out because of Kenny Biddle. What I thought, or maybe I can say we thought, who were the first family to live in the house. There was a family that actually lived there before that, and then I don't want to give too much away, and I got to get that stuff to you, Matt. I got to get it from Kenny, but there are some other things that we found out precedes all that. But what was really cool about this too is that going and digging and doing the research and stuff like that, and then you let the owners know. Pam and Eddie were cool about it. Like, they weren't upset or whatever, bummed out, when we were able to find certain things out, because I have given them things saying, hey, look, I found this. So, that didn't happen, but, this over here, happened or whatever. And they were very cool about it, because there's some places that don't appreciate finding out certain things. And they get upset. But with the owners of the Monroe house, they're awesome. And I love the fact that we're doing a documentary for them, kind of thing, because they've been amazing to us and they've been amazing to other people. And I feel like, we're giving back to them in the best way that we can.
Yeah, this location deserves to be a film for sure in every aspect, and you see why when you watch it. It's truly mysterious, and I'm not even kidding you. I think we've just based off our investigations alone, we found out why this haunting is happening, and or a big reason for it. Um, and you see why in the film, because we get some confirmation on things. Also, I'm not going to say definitively, yeah, this is what it is, but
Right.
it's definitely the what we got from it. It definitely provides a little bit more context that why that haunting is happening, and so you would be seeing that in the film, and that's a very rare moment, I would say, for the paranormal is actually finding the reasonings for things, and for and it seems like we gotten closer to that in this film compared to some other locations we investigate. And I think that also has to do with how much research was done on it for us, because this wasn't just like a one-time investigation and let's make a little video out of it. This was like years and years in the making, and we have some evidence to back up some of the claims, and also what we found from the past. And actually two of them was with Joe, Eric, Dwayne. They like got some good feedback from a couple things when they were on their own, and I was at base camp. And
So I want to give a little tease. I want to tease people a little bit. So there were things that were brought back to the house that were used as triggers, and yeah, the responses were pretty interesting.
yeah, the one of the big things, like, I'm just gonna say this: I captured. Sorry, we. I was saying I because I was editing it. So we captured. We captured our very first verified EVP, which I've never captured one in before. And oh yeah, Patricia, I thought I was going to the field too. They keep changing on us. I was in the field for 2 days. They brought us back, and then now I'm going again. It's keep changing. So hopefully tomorrow now I go to the field unless they change it again. As of right now, I have to be there at 5 a.m. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, so what was I saying? Forgot now.
The I don't want to give anything away, but anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, like we got some first verified EVP, which was insane. And when I say verified, I mean so you need a camera on everyone's face. Everyone has to be visible so there's no one whispering inside the room.
Right.
And then on top of that, you have to have a distant audio source, and we have two of them from a distance. So, and then you have two other audio sources in the room. So we have 4 audio sources that did not capture this voice, and only one voice recorder captured it. So we have all these factors: complete silence during the moment. No one's fidgeting with the recorder for pareidolia, for when you friction pareidolia, which happens a lot. I've seen it in a lot of YouTube videos. You're seeing, look at the CVP, and they move their hand. Like, oh my god! And then when it comes to, for example, another, so there also the outer source audio sources. It's better to have it outside, but we didn't have completely outside. But we did have one at the stairs, which was about, I would say, 10, 15 feet away from you guys. Yeah, something around there, 10 or 15 feet away from you guys. And then we had one upstairs where base camp was during the moment. So, and everyone else is in that area of base camp. So we had literally no sounds of voices through those exterior audio. And then we have 2 other audio sources that are close by in the moment. One with a very hot mic, because Joe's shotgun mic is extremely hot. And then one normal camera audio. And so no voice captured except for on one. You'll see that in the film. It's really cool. I'm not going to say what it says. You watch that in the film, but it's really fucking cool.
Oh yeah, we swear a lot, so I hope you don't mind.
No, we got a disclaimer.
Sorry, the Marine Corps is rubbing off on me.
That's all right. Yeah, that'd be awesome to check that film out when it comes out.
Yeah. So it's extremely hard to get a verified EVP because there's so many factors that you have to keep in mind. And it would be more perfect if there was one outside, but I was we didn't do that. Should have done that. But the thing is, though, if it would have been captured on that shotgun mic, I'm very confident about that. So, and it would have been captured on one of the other audio recordings if it was something outside. Very confident saying that.
Did you have a lot of physical activity, like anybody getting touched in there or grabbed?
Yep. It has everything and all of the above except for apparition. Everything else, we got it basically. We got it all. It's pretty awesome to say too, and that comes with all the years of investigating it. That's not just from. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you see all these YouTubers out there investigating one night, and they claim all this activity, even though most of it's just apps.
Right.
And then so it's like it. So technically, they got nothing. So it's and basically it's they make a big deals about these small things that, and then in reality it's like it's just slow. It takes a long time to gather things, to gather enough evidence. And that's just how haunting is. That's how the paranormal is 99% of the time. It's just not extremely active. It's like fishing, waiting for a bite, just waiting for that bite.
Dawn and I, Dawn's my fiance, we went to the Monroe house, and we had this one thing happen. The entire time we were there, and I can put this out there because it is on my channel, but it literally sounded like somebody was in the house and that they were walking towards us. But I describe it as, it sounded like a pissed off dad walk. That walk when you hear your dad walking and you hear that walk, you're like, oh man, I'm getting my ass kicked. What did I do? That's what it sounded like. And Dawn and I, we checked it out. There was nothing. And luckily, we captured that. But it's like, it comes in like these small chunks, right? We could go there for days and nothing could happen. And then you just go back and you get lucky and this one thing happened.
Yeah, exactly. What's is going on with this film? Oh man, it's gonna be one of those rare moments because I don't know how we're supposed to. I know how we could top it with the idea, but when it comes to location, I don't know how we're going to top it, to be honest. So far, at least. So we'll see what happens. But because this one's a very unique location, and there's so much that's not out there. Which is the funny part about this. Like, so many people just didn't do the research, and it's good for us though. It just makes it to where we get to put more information out there about the location. And so I can't wait until it's out because so much is going to be unveiled, on this location, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be really cool.
Cree wants to know when the documentary is coming out. Matt.
So we're figuring that out. So this is the idea. We're trying to go for a bigger distributor. If a bigger distributor picks it up in 2025, we'll go with that distributor. If it doesn't, we'll be putting it to the bigger film festivals, and the bigger film festivals will get eyes to those bigger distributors. And I also have connections to a guy that has a place where you can submit your films at. It's kind of like film festival, but also not at the same time. It's more like a viewing type thing. so they can watch and see if they're interested. So there's some other things. There's avenues I can go to finding this bigger distributor. We already have a distributor, but we just want to go. We want to be on either Discovery Plus, Max, or Netflix, or in theaters everywhere. It's one of those is going to be the choices, and so that's the goal, is to get to one of those. And so if it works out, and if it doesn't work out within that time period, then obviously we'll just release it to Gravitas again. That'll be our last option. That'll be our plan B. But that's our plan A for right now. Just because we want to do this for a living, so we had to make sacrifices and keep going. But we might have we're going to have a private screening to our very close followers. So we'll have a private screening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sydney wants to know, hey Matt, where are you going in the field? Just wondering.
We're just in Camp Pendleton. I'm still going to be in Camp Pendleton. I'm actually just going to be out for a total of 6 days now, because I was supposed to go today. So it was weird. It was completely unexpected, because we were supposed to do 9 days straight, and then we did a very good job. We actually made the news. Actually, we're on one of the news channels, and of what we did, but it was called Steel Night, and so basically it's kind of like a embassy situation. So a whole bunch of people were angry at you. They hired hundreds of actors, and they're just messing with us. They also had the 1-1 Marines messing with us too in civies, and so we had to just control this situation. And so basically we did very well with that. So they let us home for a day and then one night, and so which was unexpected. So I'm going back tomorrow, and at 5 a.m. So then I'll be there for until the 14th, Saturday, is when I'll be there. Is how long I'll be out there, unless it changes again. The military just completely around. Yeah, Paramount Peacock would be cool too, but I actually prefer Max or Discovery Plus, because there's a viewership for paranormal content on there.
Yep.
And I feel like for paranormal based documentary, basically, I think the best place for it would probably be Discovery Plus for the most viewership, because a lot of people go there for paranormal already. So that's basically the goal. It has to be one of those 3 things. Yes, I think we'll take Peacock or Paramount Plus also. Those are big deals also, but I think those are our top 3 for sure.
I know they do a Crypticon every year in Minnesota, where they do a paranormal thing up there as well, because we got asked for next year's Crypticon to be up there.
Where?
Crypticon in Minnesota. It's actually a big,
is what I'm trying to say.
There's a company out of Kansas City that does it. They do one in Kansas City and one in Minnesota, and they do a big paranormal thing up there in Minnesota at their Crypticon. It's a horror movie convention.
Okay.
It is, and they asked us to be at both, so that's a good option too, to show that off too, is the Crypticon in Minnesota.
Well, Amazon Prime, Adam, as our last film was already on Amazon Prime. The difference is that it's not being promoted by Amazon. So we want a big service that would be promoting it, and not us just doing the promotion. Obviously, over time, analytics and everything, it promotes on its own with the analytics. For example, he saw it just based off of the analytics showing that he's into the paranormal. And so it shows up. And so see, Cree says, I have Discovery Plus just for the paranormal. I know, right? That's what a lot of people are doing right now. So I have a connection that has a connection with one person that works for Discovery. So we'll see what happens. After it's finished, though, I'm not going to be sending that out. I'm not going to have him say anything until this film is finished. It's very close. We're 75% done with the film. 75% done.
And you guys are welcome to share it on my page as well too, to help send it out.
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
over 5,000 people. So
when it's about to come out and everything, we're going to be doing a lot more podcasts and everything. It's promoting the shit out of it. so we'll be all over the place promoting the shit out of it when it's finally gets a release date. So
Yeah, we'll get you back on here too and get the word out too as well.
Yeah, and also too, a friend, Crow of Judas, and we have a song for that documentary that will be in there at the end. But
yeah,
it'll be there. Which, by the way, Matt, that is sorted out.
Oh, it finally.
It is sorted out.
Oh, thank God. That was so annoying.
We had to make sacrifices.
Wait, what? You had to make sacrifices?
Crow and I have to make sacrifices, though, but we're good.
Was it money wise?
We had to remove it from the distributor, so it'll get removed from streaming services and stuff.
It might be. It's worth it because
it's worth it.
It wasn't getting as big on there anyway. So,
well, I mean, when you're competing with a billion other people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
we're especially nobodies.
Especially rock. Everyone's listening to pop these days. So yeah, it's a hard industry to get big on from one song. You have to be like just some one-hit wonder, basically, like Gundam style or whatever, just to get big these days.
Yeah, but he made billions.
Yeah, he did. He also had a music video with it. like a very high budget one. Hello there, Tanya.
Your Harrisville haunting, how was that? What if people hadn't seen it yet on Amazon or Tubi and stuff, did you guys get a lot of activity out of the Conjuring house?
For the amount of time we had there, yeah, I would say. One of our big piece of evidence was debunked, though. But other than that, it was pretty active, and I had a very big personal experience that still has affected how I investigate today. To be honest, it's changed how I investigated because of everything that's happened.
Now, the piece of evidence that got debunked, which we're not disappointed, because I always wanted to know what happened. Like, what happened? And then 4 years later, we get an answer. And it was, I'm much happier knowing the truth rather than wondering.
Yeah.
That's always good too. It makes up for credibility too when somebody comes to you and they were able to. Another set of eyes is always good to debunk stuff.
Oh, right, I can't wait for people to try and debunk this EVP because it's fully covered. It's pretty dang cool. You'll see in the documentary. You'll see in the documentary. It's going to be fully broken down. And all the raw footage will be available when it's out. I'm gonna make that clear. We're not releasing things until the film's out because that'd be weird. It's like, oh, here's the evidence, guys. So,
right.
But when it's out, you'll be able to see the raw footage if you want to.
Right, and with that footage being debunked, Matt and we did a reaction video to it, and we were like, well, we agree. This is what happened.
Yep.
So, I want to put that out there. We're not trying to do things to make it seem like, ooh, this was paranormal and things like that. No, I mean, in the moment, you may not be able to figure something out. And you kind of in such a way kind of go with it. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it was, or maybe it wasn't, that kind of thing. And, at that moment we didn't know, we couldn't figure it out. And just because, we weren't able to figure it out, or even if it happens to somebody else, just because they can't figure it out, doesn't mean that it wasn't, doesn't mean that it was paranormal is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important because I think all evidence should be open for peer review.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we do a lot of residential cases, and I mean, a lot of that stuff can be debunked in somebody's house.
Yeah. That's what a paranormal research unit's about. Being completely open with everyone to peer review, from the debunkers, from the community, anyone. Be honest, the paranormal research community, and just random people in the public. We don't care. So, and actually, at the end of the film, I'm actually thinking about creating a website where I'll be able to put whatever documentary episodes are out. I could put the raw evidence onto a Google Drive so anyone could see the raw footage.
And I twice now investigated with a feller named Kenny Biddle from the Skeptical Inquirer. I'm not afraid to investigate, with skeptics and things like that. And I'm trying to, I would like to bridge that gap between skeptics, scientists, and paranormal investigators. And it's a challenge because you do look at all the silly shit that goes on. It makes us all look stupid. But I'm trying to bridge that gap and get everybody to kind of just like work together. Hey, if we can figure this out, no matter what it is, we may be able to come up with a definitive answer, which I don't think that's ever going to happen, but
Right.
we can try.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Like I was saying, a lot of stuff can be explained and debunked in the paranormal field.
Yep.
And you get an old house is going to creak, floorboards are going to creak when the weather changes. And
Right. And there were things, with the Monroe house that we were actually able to like figure out. We weren't able to definitively say, okay, well, because we figured this out, it doesn't explain certain other things. I don't want to give too much away. I don't know if Matt's going to include it in the documentary or not. If he's not going to, I'll just go ahead and say it. But it had something to do with the sewage.
Oh, no, because it was never mentioned we weren't talking about it in the film at all, right. So that's why.
So one of the things about the Eric and I did experience it, but it was in the Blue Room. But anyways, one of the things that people claim is that they get this really nasty smell. And they smell it in the living room, or they smell it in the kitchen, and it moves. So when I was there, I asked Eddie, hey, well, where's the sewage line run? And it runs right across where everybody claims that they get these smells.
Right.
And okay, so that explains that. That explains that smell. But there are other types of smells that people are getting that it's not a sewage smell. It could be a floral smell or other types of smells. So it doesn't explain everything. And I know, like, when I was there one time, I was upstairs. I caught the scent of a cucumber watermelon like lotion. I don't think that's going to come through a sewage pipe. I don't think. And then another time, and I won't say too much, but I don't know if that's going to be in the documentary either. But Eric and I, we smelt something in one of the rooms. And like, if we moved away from it, we couldn't smell it. Like, if any step in any direction, we couldn't smell it. It was like it was concentrated in one spot.
Okay.
And then I think Matt may have, I think at some point you walked in, Matt, and I believe that you were able to smell it.
I can't remember what it was.
You don't remember? Man, it happened in the Blue Room with Eric and I. That's why I was wondering if you were going to put the other thing in there because of what Eric and I were experiencing.
I don't remember that, so I have to review the footage.
So basically, Eric and I, we smelt wet paint.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That's a spot.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be in the film. That sorry, I was just mentioning to Ton. I think hold on, it was Tanya that was sharing my old merch link. I don't use that merch. Don't go for Teespring. Teespring sucks ass. I hate Teespring. They are the worst. I got away from Teespring, so just wanted to make that clear. Because I'm tired of my followers mentioning, oh, their shirts, the ink is coming off my shirt. The ink is coming off. It's so bad. And like even my mom got something from Teespring, and the ink's already coming off. Frank, like so many people have told me. Yep. See, Kate. See. So that's the new link, streamlabs.com. So I just wanted to make that clear because I do not want any of our followers paying their money on that site. So
why am I smelling wet paint? There was no wet paint in the room.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Like you walk into the room and you're like, yeah, nobody's painted in here for a while.
Yeah, but it's weird because I don't know why I would add that to a film when it doesn't add anything to the story or anything like that, and you can't share that as evidence anyway because it's a smell. So so
yeah, I didn't know if you were.
No,
like, whatever. Yeah.
So
I mean, if you didn't, you didn't. Whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like when you make movies, some things are not going to make the cut because you're trying to trim. This is literally how many years? 7. So over 7-8 years of just recording this location, and we're fitting that all into like a 2-hour film. So
Right.
it's like it's tough to do. So
well, I mean, like with the Harrisville haunting, there were like EVPs that were captured that we didn't put in because they just didn't translate well.
It didn't translate well for TV.
Right.
So, there's a couple in here that I think are like a little tougher I mean, you can hear it, but it's also not the clearest EVPs ever. But I'm still putting in the film because there is some human tone to them. And if I classified it myself, I know there's not real classifications on these things, but if I classified it myself, it would be Class B EVPs. But Class B, like I would say, it was good enough because of the circumstances of the video, because nothing was going on in the moment it happened. And so I was like, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Matt, take it off your description. If that's my description, this is my old description. It's not my new stuff. It shouldn't be in my new ones at all.
Said you can check out Supernatural Ink Design. She designs shirts. She's the owner of the Supernatural Ink Network that I'm on.
Okay.
That's merch and stuff.
Awesome.
He's actually doing our merch line, and that'll be out here before Christmas.
Awesome. Yeah, we should have peer review. Yep, definitely. I think that's a show. The thing is, like, people are losing the meaning of paranormal research, and it's more of just becoming entertainment for most people, and it's going in the wrong direction.
When I see people get excited about going to a location and saying, I can't wait to capture evidence, I'm like, I don't want to investigate with you.
Right.
Because you already believe you're going to be capturing evidence. There's no way you can predict that. Nope. And then they go with that mindset, and every little sound or whatever that can be explained is now, paranormal, it was a ghost.
Right. And it's funny too, because they'll hear a noise and they'll get excited. And I've tested a few teams out. We went to Missouri State with a team invited us, and I said the ones I was with, I said, you want to see how legit they are? And I went and slammed the outer door, and you hear them all up there. Did you hear that? And they scream. Nobody once came to check it out.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I mean, when something happens, I understand not doing it all the time, because there are sounds that, like, I'll hear and I'm like, I'm not even going to bother looking for it because it happened God only knows how far away in whatever room. And when I go there, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, well, that was it. I mean, there's no point. You're just like, well, that was just a random sound, whatever. But what I try to do is, when I investigate and I ask, hey, if there's something here, can you make a sound? But I'm specific, like, knock on that door in front of me. I don't want to say just make a sound, because now any sound that happens is not going to be opened for it was a ghost. That a ghost did it when it likely wasn't.
Exactly.
That's an interesting story.
Okay, Tanya, I'm fixing it now. It's because I just shared it straight from the StreamYard. That's why it shows. It shows my old like setup I had. I'm changing that now. Sorry, Tanya.
Virgil said, "Hey, from Manchester, England. I hope you are well. I'm a simple, poor English farmer with a 5,000 head of dairy herd of cattle in Manchester city centre. Anywho, last week I was checking on my bullocks when a giant cicada swept in, snatched my beloved cow Daisy, my best milker, and flew away with her. And presumably the monstrous creature's nest. God knows what suffering she endured. I am crying as I type this. It makes me so emotional. Sorry, my question is, do cows have..." And then he never finished.
How big was that fucking cicada?
Yeah, to grab a dairy cow.
Is that a dinosaur? Maybe. Holy crap!
I'm waiting for someone to prove a demon is real. That's the funniest thing. Well, I say keep investigating the paranormal. You find it.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
It could be a long time to find it.
first off, we have to remember that paranormal is based on belief.
Yeah.
They have people who do believe in demons, people who don't. A lot of people who just don't. They may actually encounter something like that and just not realize it and call it like some pissed off ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have people who do believe and then they think that they had encountered a demonic entity, but it was just a pissed off ghost. But it's all based on belief.
I'm telling you this, like, I want you to experience real evil. You won't believe it until you experience it. Because for me, for a while, I haven't really experienced that level until one location, and then it did two things that I thought could never happen to me, and it did that. So you're not going to find proof through YouTube videos, documentaries, or whatever. You're going to find proof if you actually search for it, and one day you might come along, stumble across it. Like, I'm not even kidding you. This I literally saw possible maybe teleportation. That's how ridiculously this thing was. But like I never thought that would be even possible. That's what it seemed like it was what happened to me. So I was like, what the fuck? I'm just dumbfounded by it. So and that's how powerful those things are. So I'm just saying, it's like, it's weird. And there's another personal experience I have that I don't like talking about. I'll probably write it in my book, a future book. But it's just truly fucked up and evil.
I do believe that demonic entities do exist. But we may have come across them more often than we realize. And I guess it just, I don't know, it depends on the person.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of people are just left alone by it for whatever reason. And I guess depending on the person, that's becomes a target. But I do believe in that kind of thing. It's not fun. I've come across it, and it's like, you don't want to. You just, it's not something that you really, really want to play around with.
Yeah. Yes, and I believe it was teleportation because of how quick and where it appeared into, how it disappeared. Like, so that I do believe it was teleportation, which I think is insane. That's like a level of paranormal I never thought would actually exist. And then I had that personal experience. I was like, okay, that's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. And so, yeah, those things are extremely powerful.
Katie wanted to know, do you believe a human ghost is it their spirit or soul, like the spirit departed, not the soul?
Do you believe in the human ghost? Is it soul? Is it their spirit or soul? Isn't that pretty much the same thing?
Well, okay, so people specifically in the ITC community believe that there's a difference between a ghost and a spirit. A ghost is more trapped, where a spirit is free to go to wherever. So when people use like, the spirit box and stuff like that, and they claim they can like connect to Michael Jackson, for example, and they think they're talking to Michael Jackson, they're talking to his spirit, not his ghost. So basically a ghost, wherever it dies is where it just stays, whereas a spirit free travels.
Okay, definition of a ghost: an apparition of a dead person, which is believed to appear or become manifest to the living. God, I'm having hiccups. Sorry. Become and manifest to the living, typically a nebulous image. Okay, so basically, it's able to manifest. It's a dead person that's able to manifest to the living. It's basically a spirit, in my opinion.
I mean, you would think basically it would be the same thing, but apparently there's a difference, and I didn't get that notice.
Spirit definition: a non-physical part of a person, which is the seat of emotions, character, and the soul.
So, the difference between a human spirit, or the difference between what was it? Because I typed this in a long time ago. Because I'm like, wait, what? Type in what's the difference between a ghost and a spirit. I believe is what I typed in.
Trisha asked, is there something demonic in Harrisville?
I believe back in the day when probably Carolyn Perrin was around, probably had a demonic attachment of some kind. Possibly. That's what I think it is. I don't think it was the haunting there currently. I feel like it's probably Native American related now. But during that time period, because most demonic cases are not involved with the location. Most of them are unless rituals are done in a location. Most of the time, it's not the location itself. It's usually a haunting of a person, and it seems like that's what was happening to Carolyn Perrin, based off of her experiences. So as of today, I don't believe it. No, but for her, possibly during that time period, yeah.
I think that there was, and there may very well could be, but I don't think it's tied to the house. I think whatever it is more tied to the land than anything else. Because even some of the neighbors claim that they've had experiences. So, I don't think, well, paranormal wise, anyways, I don't think, anybody's in danger of being attacked by a demon.
Right.
I think in that aspect, it's safe.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Yeah, it's not all the time. You very rarely encounter them. Like,
yes.
But it's someone did a ritual or.
Yeah, it's rare for, I think, locations to have a demonic attachment. I think rituals have to be done at the location for something like that to be there most of the time. Yeah. That's why it's funny seeing all these videos. Demon again. You know why? Because my Ovilus or my app said so. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
And demon is more of a belief. I'll just say that. I believe it. Demons are it's true evil.
Yep.
Manifestation of evil.
And again, everything in the paranormal is based on belief. We don't have any facts. We just believe, and it could be for a number of things, experiences that we've had, or just for whatever reasons to believe or not to believe. I mean, it's funny how people went from believing to disbelieving. Kenny Biddle has talked about this, where he used to go out and ghost hunt, and they were in Gettysburg for an event, but they went and investigated, and they seen like a car or something like that pull up, people get out, and Kenny was like, I guess their buddies were yelling or something like that, and they all freaked out thinking, it was like a ghost or something, and they took off. And then the following day they were like, oh, we saw this apparition, and Kenny realized they seen him. Yeah. And when he tried to tell them that you guys seen me, like you guys literally seen me, I seen you, you seen me. Nope. It was an apparition. And I guess somebody in that group had said, quit trying to steal our spotlight. And that changed Kenny Biddle's path from doing this stuff and believing to them being very skeptical. So it's really weird that one thing changed his course.
Right.
And I just wanted to mention to Adam, prove what? The paranormal, most of the things you can't prove. You know what paranormal means? It means not having the full understanding of the scientific understanding of something. So you're not going to be able to prove anything within the paranormal because there's not a scientific understanding of why these things happen. We don't know yet. So and also Patricia is right. Try and prove that it's not a demon. So like you can't prove it either way. Same with God. You can't prove it either way. So
right. It's belief. It's faith. I mean,
to be honest, actually, I think you can find some proof for yourself. Not for in your using your technology or something like that. I think there's some evidence that can be gathered for your own personal being. And that's what I had to go through when it came to God. And that's what I had to go through when it came to the demonic, in both ways, aspects. It came through personal experiences.
So we also have to understand too that, again, we believe what we believe through our own personal experiences, and there are certain things that kind of guide us into what we believe. Like an example is, you can have a great Christian family, and their kids, they go to church, and then those kids, they grow up and have their own kids. They go to church, but then one of those kids may have a bad experience with the church. They could be anything. And then all of a sudden, poof, they don't believe. And because of that experience, or, people have experiences where they didn't believe in God or whatever, and they had a certain experience, and then they believed in God. Or you could even say didn't believe in ghosts, but now do believe in ghosts. I mean, there's no true answer. Yep. And honestly, we call it ghosts and whatever, but we really don't know what we're interacting with or what's interacting with us. It could be something totally different. I mean, it could be us making things happen and not even realize it. I mean, we don't know. We don't have an answer. We're doing this because we want to find the answers.
Yeah. And I'm not ever going to try and prove that demons and ghosts exist. I'm trying to prove that paranormal phenomena exists, because things that are happening that we just can't understand. Exactly. And trying validating, for example, EVPs it's extremely hard. But if you capture one, that's a big deal, because that's getting a step in the right direction to trying to figure out why these things happen. I'm not how to figure out why it happens, but showing that it exists, of electronic voice phenomena. So yeah, I don't know why it happens. It's pretty interesting to me.
Like what Kate said there, there really isn't a standard in this field at all. Like there's no guidelines, there's nothing. It's basically a free for all kind of thing. And, people want answers and try to prove things, yet nobody's really coming together. And
not just that, we also don't have the right amount of money to put into the research of paranormal, because all the real scientists are doing a lot of other things when it comes to the research. And there's other things that we have ideas for. It's just extremely expensive. I'm talking about $70,000 for one of the experiments I want to do. And that's something that's going to be hard to come by. And also you need a location for it and study it for a long time to even and see if you even get results, because it's just a hypothesis at the moment. It's nothing official until you start testing it.
Right.
So
nobody's really doing anything like, when we talk about like collecting data, and a lot of people are like, well, what, we're supposed to like poke and prod at a ghost or whatever. It's like, no, you don't necessarily have to do that. There are other things that we can do, but nobody's really collecting data, sharing that data among one another to come up with some sort of idea. And that's a problem. All we're seeing is people going to these locations, investigating, and believing that they may have captured something. There's no data collection whatsoever. It's just, well, EVPs. Look, well, that's great, but look at the area you investigated in. Very noisy, a lot of things going on.
Yep.
That may not even be an EVP, that was captured. Relying on, REM pods and things like that. They don't tell you anything, right? They go off. Why did it go off? You're not going to sit there and convince me a ghost set it off.
By the way, once you prove things, that it's no longer paranormal, because it's beyond the scope of scientific understandings of today's scientific understandings.
At one time, the stars, the universe, it was paranormal. They didn't have an understanding of it. A lot of people way back when thought the stars were gods.
They thought that the sun was only raised because of a god.
And over time with science, it proved to be none of that stuff. And science is always changing.
Ooh, I have an idea. Put that right there.
Well, that's even like the K2 meter when it came out. Everybody was like, oh, this is big, cool to find ghosts, when really it's developed by an electrician.
Right.
Electrical currents in the wall.
And, basically, people are using things that have already existed, but repurposed and repackaged and marketed towards ghost hunters. I mean, the REM pod, all it is a junior theremin kit. That's all it is.
Yep.
You can literally go to like a store and buy a child's theremin kit, and it's the same thing as a freaking REM pod. Now it can't sense like temperature change and do some other things, but you can literally like spend maybe $20 on a toy and use it for the same purpose.
Exactly. And I mean, you can easily manipulate a REM pod. If you get a walkie-talkie, you have someone in another room sitting there clicking the button, that REM pod's going to go off.
Right. There's a lot of things that'll set a REM pod off. And I don't rely on that stuff. I mean, I have a REM pod and I only bought it to show people why not to use it. This is why you don't use it.
Yeah. Like I've only had one good experience with the REM pod, and that's why and I never had it again. And that was with the most intelligent responses I've ever gotten with a REM. It wasn't a REM pod, actually. It was a millimeter with a REM on it. I think it's a little bit different because the ones on the millimeters are a lot less sensitive.
Yeah, I've got one.
A lot less sensitive than the REM pods. Those I have a REM. The REM on my millimeter never gets set off, like fucking ever. I never have it go off. So it's like extremely fucking rare when it goes off. But anyway, it was at the Snoop Ferry Berkeley when I got the weird. It felt like I was talking to R2D2. It was extremely weird. The way you just have to watch it to understand what we're talking about. It was just weird as fuck. But I'm not saying that's evidence or anything. It was just definitely intriguing for sure. And that's the only good experience I've ever had with a REM pod, because everything else I believe can be just set it off naturally. The way it acts too just seems like it could just be set off naturally. It's when you have like clear communication with something is when it gets interesting, and that's extremely rare because I've been doing this for 13 years. I only had one good experience with it, so that's hard to that just gets ridiculous at the point. It's like hasn't been useful any other time.
For me, over the years, I believe, but I'm a lot more skeptical now than I've ever been. And to a certain point, that kind of sucks, because it kind of takes like the fun and thrill away. But at the same time, I believe anyways that I'm going the right direction. And
it's funny because actually I went through what Joe's going through. I went through that a bit ago, and then I had a wake up call, and then now I'm right in the middle again. I went way too far to the skeptical side, way too far, and then after my personal experiences, and then started to lean more into my spiritual side some more. That's when I started realizing, holy shit, there's more to this than I don't think anything equipment wise or anything. It's not going to have that full understanding. I feel like there is spirituality. I think your body is good at picking things out. This natural intuition that you have with certain things. I believe it's a great tool. And it just comes from years of experience, or just being completely open, like start becoming more and more open. So I just recommend that for anyone. Be right in the middle. Don't be too far on either side, because I've been on both sides, and it's not good on either side.
Right. When I say I'm far more skeptical, I'm still in the middle, but I'm far more skeptical of a lot of things that I see and hear from others. And I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, other people are lying or anything like that. But when you really start like digging into certain things like locations, you hear their stories, but once you really start digging into the history of that location and people who were involved or whatever, kind of like, I don't think any of this is true. All these things that have, like, they claim that they've experienced stuff like that, because these certain things never happen,
right,
to begin with, kind of thing. So I've become a little more. I've become more skeptical on locations.
More jaded.
Jaded? You think jaded? I don't know about jaded.
I'm jaded on certain things. I'm jaded at the YouTube thing. I'm so gay. Like, I fucking hate paranormal YouTube now. It used to be way better. Like, people that were doing paranormal YouTube back in the day, they were actually, I felt like, in it for the right reasons. Like, they were in it because they were very intrigued by the paranormal and wanted to do their own research. And nowadays it just seems more like fame, money. That's what it seems mostly now. Not all of them, but it seems like that a lot are like that. And it's just because the thumbnails and titles are a perfect example of that.
Right.
Fucking demon in every single one of them. Skinwalker in every single one of them. It's ridiculous. It's getting out of control.
Yeah, and that drives me nuts too, because there's a lot of bad information that comes out of those channels as well. Yeah, it's like there are places that I have been to, and I'm like, nobody's ever claimed there was a demon there. And I've talked to owners of locations. Both Don and I both have. We talk to owners of locations, and they tell us stuff. I mean, they're like, yeah, so and so was here, and yeah, no, or they knew that they were, they caught them faking and stuff like that. But what I didn't know, and I thought this was interesting, is that some of those bigger channels, they have owners of locations sign contracts where they can't say anything.
Yep.
Yep. It sucks what things have come to, but you know what? It makes us stand out more. I feel like now that we're not running away, yelling and screaming. We're actually getting the real legitimate history of a location. We're actually taking it seriously, and that's a dying breed right now in the paranormal. It's feeling like that. It's feeling like a dying breed when it comes to the at least the popular ones right now. And so it's a good thing because we get to stand out in that aspect. Oh, finally, some professional ones again, like ghost hunters and taps. I mean, how they were acting, but like we need more people like that act like professionals instead of like freaking out, running away, and all that shit.
Man, that's like one real episode of Taps there where Brian goes running out of the prison.
Yeah, and he got in trouble for that. So it's like, and he didn't stay on the show after that either, not that much longer. So it's like this perfect. I like to always say this as my metaphor. Basically, that's like basically hiring a bug exterminator that is afraid of bugs. It makes no sense.
And Adam, I don't know what's going on with Adam over here, but he's like, show me a ghost or a demon. Go find it yourself. Like nobody has to show you anything. There's nothing to prove to anybody.
No.
We're out here, spending a shit ton of money. We don't get in these places for free. These places cost money. And on top of that, the traveling expenses. And if you got to stay at a hotel for a day or two, get out there and find it yourself.
For the longest time, we weren't making any money doing this, like for a long time. So it was all based off of pure passion. That's all. We were spending all of our money.
And it's not like it's raining money. It's not like it's raining money or anything like that on us. I'm still trying to recoup from a couple of investigations that I did over last March and over the summer. Like, I'm never going to make that money. Any place I go, I don't make anything back from that. It's all done at a loss, but it's done because that's what I love to do. And I'm trying to, like I said, I would love to prove that the paranormal, ghosts, demons, or whatever, they exist. It's just not going to happen. There's no way. All I can do is go out there and investigate, and whatever happens, happens. That's also, an issue with my channel. If you take my channel and you put it up against like these bigger channels that are just over the top and stuff like that, I can't compete because they're exciting, like all kinds of crazy stuff is happening and everything is a ghost. And I'm over here just like, nothing's happening. I heard a sound. Oh, what was it? Oh, it was just that. Nothing happening. I mean, that's literally like my videos.
Well, that's even like some of the residential cases we do. We'll get called in because they're experiencing this, and this. We get there, set up, we're investigating. We don't get nothing through the whole night. The whole house just stays quiet.
See, in order for anyone to do a proper investigation, you can't just go one night to a location, like we'll say a residential. You just can't go there one night and then nothing happened. You're like, well, nothing happened, so see you later.
That's another thing,
yeah. It's something that, it could take a long time. You're there, you're hearing what they're experiencing, you're trying to debunk and find logical reasons for certain things that happen to put them at ease, because ultimately it is about putting people at ease. And you still have to, hey, let's see what happens. We'll investigate, and you got to just, it's not a one and done kind of thing. I mean, again, with the Monroe House, we've been there so many freaking times. A lot of time, like most of the time that I've been to the Monroe House, nothing, quiet. But then I get lucky.
Yeah, exactly. You keep going and going. You get good days and get bad days, and that's how it's been for me too. I would say 35% of the time I've been there is when I got some good things, and then I've been there like about 10 times probably in total, about that much. And
I don't even know how many times I have been there. I know it's been more than 10 times. There are times where I stay for one night, or it could be a few days. When we filmed the documentary, it was what, a week, almost a week, something like that.
When we filmed the documentary, it was 3 days.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was only.
Why did it? Well, I was there. Okay.
Oh, you were there for 4 days because you were you got earlier. So yeah. So I was there for 3 days. We were there for 3 days for the main investigation. The rest of the time, like Joe went back up multiple times for pickup shots, some B-roll, and also just investigating more too. And yeah, so everything we've accumulated just enough for a documentary, and it's pretty cool though because we definitely got enough to make a film out of it. That's intriguing. Right. It just took a lot of time. It took 8 years of filming. So
right.
And I like this one a lot more. It's more personal. I've definitely gained a what's the word? I'm personally attached to it now because of how much time I've spent there and how much of that we've uncovered. So it makes it a little different, Actually, out of all locations I investigated, that's the place I've investigated the most, and mainly because I lived close by. I was like 50 minutes or 40 minutes away from where I used to live over there. And also on top of that, Eddie was very gracious at letting me go there a lot. So it was just a combination of the two. And then it just turned into something. I started getting I remember telling Michael this. I actually look up my old chats with Michael. I have with Mike Diddy. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I was drawn to that house at the very beginning. Before I even went, I was weirdly drawn to that house. And I didn't even think about this until just now. This just came to my mind because back in 2016, when I first heard about that place, there was just something about that place that was calling me in a way. And now it makes a whole lot of sense. I didn't even think about this. I was just naturally drawn to that house out of all locations I was wanting to investigate. And I think I even mentioned that to either Pam Reddy or Mike Diddy in 2016 or when I was trying to get access to the house, but it wasn't available at the time to everyone. They had it was only available to investigate by certain investigators, pretty much Dick Paranormal only, basically at the time. And there's just something about the house that I was just drawn to it. I don't know what it was. And I want to find that chat. I think that'd be kind of cool to maybe add to the documentary.
The only other place that I investigated more was Hell's Bar Dam. So for like 2 years, maybe a little more than that, almost every weekend I was at Hell's Bar Dam. 99% of the time, nothing happened. But I've experienced some pretty cool stuff and things that I'm just like baffled by. That was the first time, like, I've always heard people talk about, I seen a doppelganger. And I'm always like, I don't want to call this person a liar, but I don't know if I buy this. And then me and another friend, Gary, we both seen what we thought was a certain person just nonchalantly walk by us. And this dude was outside the entire time. And we were baffled by that. And I've had other cool things happen there as well. But, again, you really have to investigate a location a lot. And it's not just to get evidence, but it's also to figure out the place's quirks.
Mm.
And I'm going to go back to the Monroe house. I know that there's a certain spot on the floor that if you hit it or if you walk on it, it's going to sound like a cabinet had opened or something knocking. And there are other things that go on with the house that are absolutely normal. But I know that because I've been there many times. So you really have to get to know a place really well. And then it really helps, okay, this wasn't paranormal because I know whatever. And then if it's something different that's not normal that you're used to, then there's that possibility that maybe that was something.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. You definitely, this house, we definitely know the quirks too, because for example, the tarps there sometimes make noises from the wind and stuff like that. They're like, oh, it's just the tarp again.
Right. But yeah, we see people going, oh my God, footsteps. We're like, oh no, that's not what it is.
I think they got them closed up better now. But back in the early days of the Monroe house, it was not. And you heard those tarps all the damn time. And
Right.
So, but now it's closed up better, I think, because I haven't heard them in a while. So I think it is. I'm just going based off that. It could have just been not windy, but I think it's closed up better now. Don't quote me on that, but I haven't heard it in a while. So I think that's it. I think he's fixed it.
But yeah, I mean, part of investigating places is, again, you don't just one and done and that's it. You really have to spend time to get to know the location and its quirks and things like that. Yeah, it can get boring investigating the same location over and over again. But if you wanted to figure things out, that is something that you have to do.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. I mean, we did this abandoned hotel in Rockport, Missouri, and my dad and I spent the night in there. The rest of my team went to a hotel. We decided we were going to sleep in there. Well, early in the morning, I heard it sounded like footsteps, and I figured kids had broken in. I could hear voices. Well, the voices ended up being out on the street, and the noises that sounded like footsteps were raccoons running up and down through the walls of the place.
Right. And with also, again, with the Monroe house, it's overpopulated with squirrels and raccoons and some other critters. And you can see the squirrels running up and down the roof and stuff like that. And I watched one run up where the stairs are. Now, one of the claims is that people hear what sounds like footsteps coming down the stairs. Squirrels can be pretty freaking loud. And that is something that, people could be hearing, not just at that location, but it could be other locations.
Yeah, you get them old locations, you're going to have a lot of animal activity in them, and it's even like somebody's house too. When you got trees close to a house, like you said, squirrels, they love to get in attics. Raccoons love getting in, and you can
Yep.
hear a lot of those noises.
Another thing that we experienced, not for the documentary, this is something else, but scratching. We're like, what the hell is that? Well, now going back and paying even more attention, it was likely birds. There's a lot of pigeons, and they like to nest and get up into like in between the walls and stuff like that. That may very well be what we're hearing.
Why didn't we ever just go into the attic?
Because because he has it blocked off, like it's screwed in there and stuff like that. I'm not doing this until next year, but I would love to go back and be like, hey, Eddie, can we go in the attic?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We don't have anything recorded for our documentary for upstairs, I don't think, evidence wise, to my knowledge. Really? Most of it was in the blue room and the basement, to be honest.
Right. I mean, when Mike, Diddy, and I were at the house the day before you guys showed up.
Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that thing move on us, but that was off camera, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's our luck too. Like if something cool happens, of course it's going to be off camera.
That's part of the reason why I developed that helmet. So whatever I see, it's captured, and whatever I hear, it's captured. And so that's why it's my favorite paranormal piece of paranormal equipment, actually, because of that one reason. Plus, you have your hands free for other things, so
Yep.
it's pretty nice.
Plus, too, when you hear something, your natural body reaction is turn your head before your body turns.
Exactly, and so that and not just that, like you don't know what you're going to see in the moment. So then something's going to go too quick because shadow people are quick most of the time. Like every single time I've seen a shadow person, 99% of the time they're like, you see it, then whoa, they like see it for a split second, then you just like, what is that? And then it moves like quick when you spot it. It's weird. And so for that reason, I was like, one day, hopefully, they'll capture a shadow person with that damn thing. I need to
one time we thought we did. It was the first time Matt used it, and then we realized.
Yeah.
And then it's one of those top 10 channels went and took that video and said, "Oh, they captured a shadow person." I'm like, in that same video, we debunked that. Why didn't he show that? No, he passed it off as it was paranormal.
Yeah. And so it's like one day, hopefully, because I've seen a lot of shadow people when I was younger, when I was a kid, and also when I was first starting out investigating, but now they're a lot less. It's happening a lot less.
Yeah, you rarely see them very much anymore. You'll maybe catch one or two.
You notice that? I mean, you're noticing that too. I think it has to do with the I talked to Joe about this, the psychological aspect of the paranormal to me, because when I was first getting into it, I was more like 100% believing and excited and everything, and I experienced more things, which is weird. And then the more experience I got, the less time I started experiencing things. And also it's because excitement's lowered, and then also I'm trying to think more and more objectively and all the time. And then that's when I started going down that path of going too skeptical with everything. And then I bounced kind of back to the middle again. But I started experiencing. I almost quit the paranormal. Actually, I almost completely quit the paranormal because I was starting to get I kept going on investigations, spending all this money, and getting nothing that I thought was interesting. To be honest, the sad part is because it's a person that's faked. But it wasn't until I did that investigation with the haunted site that I actually grabbed my interest again, because I've seen objects thrown multiple times during that investigation, and it sucks about that situation because he faked evidence, and now it sucks because I think he was a real poltergeist case on top of that, and so it pisses me off because objects were being thrown more. That was my first ever poltergeist case. I never seen objects thrown more than fucking one time in my entire life in a location. More than one time. It was, I think, 7 times in one night. And that's when it grabbed my interest again. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not done with the paranormal. So yeah, that was strange. And so that's why I've continued, is because of that experience. And that was still to this day the most active active investigation I've ever done. And it felt like the movies of how active it was. It felt like the damn movies. Like, oh, for once in a lifetime, activity of like things being thrown all over. That's why I say it's a legit poltergeist, because that shit I only heard about in books.
Right.
Like, the Ed and Lorraine Warren books and all that. Hey, look, I literally just spoke that. What the fuck? That timing was weird. I never even mentioned it. I never even mentioned their name one time this entire podcast. And right when I mentioned them, they pop up. Nesper pops up. That's funny.
That's an example for you.
That timing is insane.
Hey,
so,
Chris.
yeah, like all those poltergeist things that you hear about in the books and everything, I didn't experience it until that day. That was the only time. Like those are the cases that you read about, and you're like, huh, I wonder if I ever experienced that. I've been investigating the paranormal for so long, and I haven't experienced it until 2020. That one time, I was like, okay, now this grabbed my interest completely again. Now I want to find another poltergeist case out there, and they're just too rare. I think they're more rare than demonic, to be honest. I'm having troubles finding another poltergeist case. Where was that? And that's the thing. I don't think it was the location. I think it was an individual. And so that was at Lassen County Hospital, though. It's on my channel right now.
Hey, there are times where I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I wasting my time? Maybe I should just stop doing this. And then something cool happens. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's why I do this.
Yeah,
that's why I spend all this money because of this. Probably one of the coolest things that I had seen where I can't even come up with an explanation for it. Octagon Hall in Kentucky.
Okay.
Dawn and we were eating dinner, and then Dawn's like, it just felt like somebody like messed with my hair. And I kind of looked at her because I didn't see anything. So I didn't know what to think. And then she had some of her hair on her shoulder, but it was the weight of her hair was more towards her back, but I watched it get flipped forward. And she didn't move to where her hair would flip forward.
Right.
And I stared at her for a couple of seconds. I'm like, your hair just moved forward. Yeah, and I'm still computing it in my brain. Did I actually did that just happen? Like, holy crap. So we weren't recording anything at the time because we were eating. So I got a hold of Beth, said, hey, this is what time this thing happened. Can you check for me? Can I get that footage? It took some time, but she got back to me. She's like, something ran their fingers through her hair. That's what it looks like. So she got the footage for me, except it was recorded on her cell phone. You could tell something is going on, but it's not like full detail. And that was bizarre. And even then I was thinking to myself, why am I doing this?
Right.
Yeah.
And then
I just want to answer Patricia. So poltergeist is actually usually associated with PK cases, in my opinion. Not technically demonic. There are that too, though. There's both. Then poltergeist cases, it could be demonic or a PK case. And so I believe it's both. I mean, both. It can be that in different circumstances, basically. And so it really depends on the location or the person. Actually, I would say the person mostly, because usually demonic cases are involved with people too. So poltergeists are associated around people, and same with demonics. So,
right. And with poltergeist cases, most of those revolve around young girls who are now turning into young women
through their puberty stages. Usually is what happens.
And then women who are going through that other wonderful phase that us guys have to deal with because they got to go through it and they take it out on us. I'm teasing menopause.
No, so there is some male poltergeist cases too. It's just that it's more associated with most of the time women at younger ages is what it seems to be for most of the cases. It's interesting, intriguing. So, but like I said, it's more rare than I think the demonic cases, and I want to find another. I'm going to live to find another. And then I'm going to make a documentary out of that case whenever I find another poltergeist case, okay? One day, mark my words, 10, 20 years from now, I'll find another one.
The only same investigators for this documentary is going to be Matt, Eric, and I. And then we have others who had nothing to do with the Harrisville haunting.
Yeah. So it's Paranormal Research Unit, including Eric. That's what it is. Yes, Josh was there, but he wasn't investigating, so I'm not counting him. He was there just to bring my nice helmet. He was all very cool of him. I told him he could investigate with us, but he didn't want to. I was like, okay. So he was around, but he didn't investigate. Then so basically, it was just Eric and Paranormal Research Unit, which was investigating at the Monroe House.
So the name of the documentary needs to change to Eric and Friends.
Eric and friends. Yes, Eric gets a lot of screen time because he's really good on camera. He's like perfect for camera, so I use him a lot in the videos for the documentary stuff. He has that star factor for sure.
Eric is. I love Eric. He doesn't care. Like he gives no shits. When he walks into a room, you can't miss Eric.
He's like one of those
what he
people that
wears.
he dresses up like he's a rock star.
Yeah, I saw him there at the Warren's Paracon where he was dressed up in his sunglasses and bandana, and because he showed us his haunted doll that he had there.
I mean, it was Eric. He just doesn't. He doesn't care, and I love that about Eric. You know, Eric is on planet Eric.
I think Adam needs to go to therapy for this demon stuff. He's been nonstop talking about it this entire live stream.
I'm gonna tell him
He goes to sleep thinking about it. He's like,
I was told,
demons. They're not real.
don't dwell on them because you play with fire, you get burned.
He cannot sleep at night. That's all he thinks about these days.
Have you guys run into any elementals at all?
I believe partially that could be the Harrisville farmhouse. I think that some of that involves that place, and it makes for mainly outs for a lot of the experiences from outside, like cemetery lights and all that. They're is there another word for them, because it technically isn't next to a cemetery for these ones, but they're called cemetery lights technically. I don't know if there's another name for it, but basically light phenomena people see, and then territorial also. So some territorial stuff too. That's usually involved with elemental haunts too. So it was interesting.
Yeah, I personally don't believe in elementals. I'm not saying they don't exist. I just not something that I think that I've experienced. Nothing has given me any kind of indication that they're real, and that's just me. It could be. I don't know.
Here's the thing about the farmhouse. It's just that the farmhouse is not the only people having experiences there. It's also the neighbors and everything that have experiences at their places. So I think it's the whole forest, not just the house. And elemental is usually associated around Native American locations, and that is a Native American area. So don't know. I don't know 100% either. I don't really know. I'm very open-minded to the paranormal though, because it's when you start closing your mind off into one direction, you get surprised about certain things. Like I was like starting like, will poltergeist thing ever happen to me? And it finally did. Will demonic thing ever happen to me? It finally did. I was like, it's one of those things like you start to not believe in it, and then all of a sudden it happens. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
I mean, that's like with the doppelganger thing. You know, I've had friends tell me that they've seen doppelgangers and stuff like that. I don't want to call them liars, but I didn't believe that. And then I experienced, I'm like, well, shit. that's a thing.
Yep, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, for people that want proof in things, you just have to experience it yourself. You're not going to get proof from videos.
Nothing that we do is going to prove. It might give somebody something to think about, but at the end of the day, it really is belief and experience.
Exactly.
Yep. I've only had literally one poltergeist case in my entire 13 years of investigating, and I've only had one, maybe one or two demonic, and that's it in my entire 13 years of investigating. I've had different beliefs back then that maybe I was thinking demonic, because I was a bit more, when I was first starting out, I was more Christian, I would say, like more like in that aspect. I'm Christian now too, but I actually stepped away from God for 2 or 3 years, based off of anger that I was starting to build up, kind of like Adam, just hating everything involving Christianity. And then, what was happening to my mom too. She was going through cancer, And so I started building a hatred, and then all of a sudden, I had some more personal experiences, and I came back to him. And then ever since I came back to him, my life has been so much better. So much better. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like 2 weeks after I came back to him, things in my life completely changed in just 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Yeah.
And I mean, even for us too, keeping us busy too.
When you ever want to search for any of those answers for God or anything like that, it's all personal. Like you're only going to experience that throughout your life. And that's just my belief. It has nothing to do with science. Okay, guys. It's fully, completely faith, and it's based off of personal experiences.
Right. You know, and then I call myself an oddball Christian, but I'm not going to sit around and like, do you know our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? And
Yeah,
how people
I'm not gonna
like,
be one of those damn
it's
Mormons.
right. It's personal. You know, it's a personal thing. If somebody wants to talk about it, that's fine. But I'm never going to like, even outside of that, you know, with the paranormal, I'm not going to like try to cram my beliefs and my experience down somebody's throat and try to force them to believe what I believe. Because again, it comes back to, as I've been saying, belief and experience.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that the Monroe. Oh, geez, sorry, hiccups again. The Monroe House. There's one thing that Joe does with his ritualist, his cross. It's very intriguing that something that is captured. You'll see in the film, something's captured right when he's about to put the cross, his cross necklace that was blessed, I believe, right? It was blessed.
Yeah. Well, there was the
Saint Benedict.
Yeah.
And so you got a cross in Saint Benedict, and he's putting it on these objects
on accident.
On accident, and right before it happens is when the EVP is captured, and it's pretty intriguing. The correlation, which is going to be mentioned in the film, you see in the film, but it's pretty interesting. I was like, that's weird.
Could it have known what I was going to accidentally do?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not just that. You mentioned you were talking about it. You said, I got this St. Benedict and cross. And so you were talking about it right after that. You were talking about it is when it happened. And actually, I think you were putting it there on purpose. Maybe not on the objects on purpose, but putting it near it.
No, I was putting it on that chair on purpose, but I did not mean for that to touch.
Yeah. So it was very intriguing what was captured. You see in the film. It was weird that got that kind of response. And yeah, we'll just go with that. I've had other personal experiences. I'll all those little more spiritual things I'll go in depth with in my book in the future. When it comes to my personal beliefs and all that, I'll do that in the book. Yeah.
Adam, and maybe the way you're coming across in the chat, like kind of confusing. Like, so is he joking around? Is he being serious? It's text though, so it's hard to judge.
Yeah, you can't hear tones of voice or text.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes when I message somebody and I'm being really cool, and they're like, "Dude, what's your problem? Why are you being?" I'm like, "All I said was hi."
Anybody else has any more questions? We got about 15 minutes left. Feel free to put them up in the chat.
Dun dun dun. You know what? I really love. It's funny because there's two things I'm extremely passionate about, and it just goes together so well. And it's the paranormal and filmmaking. It's like it just goes together so well. It's intriguing, interesting. It is a little bit harder to be fully 100% scientific with film because you're trying to keep it entertaining. So you can't be 100% boring, like how science can be for some people. And this film is not a scientific approach at all. I'm not saying that at all. but we have some future. We need the proper funding to do actual scientific research, and we don't have that yet. So we need to make these kind of films to possibly, hopefully, get there one day. Maybe we get a lot more better funding and do maybe some more interesting experiments. But for as of right now, we're doing these kind of films, and I'm also a fan of horror, so it works out.
There are elementary schools worth the hype to investigate it. The Sam and Kobe location.
I have no idea about that location. I just know that they bought it and that's it. I don't know anything about it. I'm all focused in the Monroe house right now. I go like in focus mode when I'm making films. It's like the Harrisville haunting. I'm pretty sure Joe's so tired of Harrisville haunting. I was working on that fucking thing for like 400 hours. So it's like, oh my God, you've seen it. Yeah, I've seen every single part of it like hundreds of times. So even the Harrisville haunting, I know word for word for the entire film, and I know it's just like it's ingrained in you at that point when you edit a film, and so because you go over it so many times with the audio, the sound design, the cutting, how you want it cut, and everything. So you just like completely have it memorized after you've been doing it for so long. But it is the best feeling ever is doing such a big project like this and finishing. When you finish, I'm telling you, it's better than sex, man. It's better than sex. It feels amazing when it's finished. It's like
I'll disagree with that.
Hey, you're not the one doing the editing here. So it's like,
oh no, but I do edit, my own like YouTube stuff.
Yeah, except YouTube is different. Like even when I
Right.
edit YouTube, it's not the same as making a film.
Right, but I got that one project that I don't know what's going to happen yet, but I got that one thing that I'm working on, and man, I tell you what,
yeah,
it might as well be a documentary. Holy crap!
So Helena and I will be we just not as like a couple team. She's part of the paranormal research unit. Helena and I investigate kind of differently. She's more of a ghost hunter type. She's doing it for the fun. I do it for the research. And so she when we do my filming for my stuff, we're doing it my way. And then when I'm just with her and she's just trying to film a video, I'll let her do what she wants to do. Because it's just for her video and everything, but I'm just not going to say anything on certain things because I disagree with, because I'm not a fan of the apps. Not a fan of I hate the SLS. I hate the I'm not a fan of Ovilus, like all these things I'm not a fan of. and so I don't like pendulums. I don't like
That's just a hater.
Dowsing rods, like all those things I don't like. So, and then she does. So she's gonna do her thing, and I'll tag along with her because I still have fun being with her and doing her things. So it's like it's just it's different when we're doing paranormal research unit investigations. When we're doing paranormal research unit investigations, we're doing it our way. And so when it comes to her stuff, then I'm going to be tagging along with her with investigations. I'll just answer it that way. Yes, I'll be doing investigations with her.
That was the longest fucking answer ever. Jesus.
I know, seriously.
I know, right?
Just a simple yes or no. Fuck.
You guys get to do any investigating when you came out for the Warren's Paracon?
He did.
Yeah, Dawn and I did. We were invited by a friend, Jeff, or Exploring with Harley. We investigated the orphanage and the Ginny Wade house. Now, Jeff, he does investigate differently than us. He likes to use the apps and he likes to use other things. So for me, we were invited. So for me, it's like, I got to step back, let him do his thing. But regardless, no matter who I'm investigating with, anyways, especially if they help paid, I don't sit there and like, no, we're not doing this. We're not using that. I don't do that. People understand, that I don't use these things but I'm not going to tell you how to investigate. But I'll ask questions like, why do you believe this works? Things like that. But yeah, we investigated those 2 locations, and it was a lot of fun. And Jeff, he has a huge heart. He really does. He's a good dude.
He does. Yes, he does.
And I would definitely investigate with him again. And if I invite him on an investigation, he can investigate the way that he wants. I'm not, like I said, I investigate different, but I'm not an asshole. Basically, when it comes to investigating with different people. I mean, like, look, we investigated with Eric. Eric investigates very different than us, but it also shows that we can work together. Despite how we may believe different or investigate different, we can all still work together because we do have that thing in common.
Yeah.
And that is, hey, what's going on here? Getting the truth.
There's a question for you, Joe.
When you go to a place that's claiming to be haunted, what do you mostly look for? When I go to a location for the first time, I like to go in blind. So I listen to the stories. And listening to the stories can tell you a lot about the person who's telling you the stories and things like that. Won't throw any names out there, but there have been locations where I've been told a lot of stuff. And I know immediately if it's bullshit or not. And then that puts me in a position to where I have to now base my investigation, even though I don't believe these stories, I now have to base my investigation on what I was told. But I am going to I'm going to look for certain things. Like if I hear rumors that a place is rigged up, you better believe I'm going to look. And I've done it.
One thing, sorry, keep going.
I also, before I go to a location, sometimes I watch videos on location, but not too deep. Basically, I'm looking at who was at this location. What channel has been to this location? And I'll look for things that a lot of them leave behind. And that it like they leave behind string. And I'm like, okay, so this thing moved. So let's see if they left something behind.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll find a piece of tape still attached to something like a door or like a piece of string that they just like, they thought they got completely off, but it ended up snapping. I'll look for stuff like that too. I can't do it all the time. It depends on the size of the location and how much time that I have. But I mean, most of the time I don't have an issue with any of the locations. Most of the time, most location owners, they're on the up and up. Man, they might have something here and there that's off regarding the history, but it's nothing like major. There's nothing major at all. But I've been to locations where it's been fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
And I will find out. Because I mean, I can't say too much more, but I will find out.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention this to the chat. I want to also talk to you about this, Joe. What do you think about changing my channel name to Paranormal Research Unit? Because I'm very happy about the team that we have right now, and I was thinking about maybe just changing it to the team name.
Well, I thought you already had one called PRU Case Files.
No, that's not the team name. That's the show name.
Oh,
that I'm talking about the channel name, Paranormal Research, because the team name is Paranormal Research Unit. It's just that I feel like when people see Devil's Hour Productions, they think, oh, highly edited. It is edited well in a production format, I feel like, but it's not. People first think of fake when they see productions, even though it's not. Productions is just filmmaking in general. It could be for documentaries too, but
That's why I use Entity 7 Paranormal for my YouTube channel, and then Entity 7 Film for the documentaries and stuff that we do.
And I want to ask the chat, do you guys think it should be Paranormal Research Unit? Do you think I should make the big change back to that channel name? Because I'm happy with the team right now. And when I get out of the Marine Corps, which is soon now, in about a year, I'm going to be very focused on starting to.
I hope my hair grows out really long in that amount of time for the next documentary. See, I have this thing I do to Matt. Matt hates it when I have long hair. So now what I try to do is purposely.
I don't hate it. I never said I hated it. I just said I think it looks better.
Well, I'll grow it out just for the documentaries, and then I'll cut it. That's what I do to him. But I don't think I'll be able to cut it again because we're gonna start really going on a roll here. So I'm gonna have really long hair.
So Dwayne, the actually Cynthia ITC was actually meant to be a more scientific version, and no one's using it properly for that anyway. But and then Solomon was a social experiment, the big social experiment. So
which fucking works.
It works well. It's freaking out so many people. I love it. Yeah. So I don't know. I was thinking about. I don't know, man. Like I think the name Devil's Hour is better, but I think this is turning into a very team oriented now. And I think Paranormal Research Unit, and it is paranormal. And I don't want people to associate us as fake, even though it's not. It's just that that's what people that don't know anything about production or know about documentaries or whatever. Well, people know about documentaries, but they don't think when they say the first viewpoint on productions, they think fake. So I was thinking maybe changing it to Paranormal Research Unit, and then working on this team, promoting the team as Paranormal Research Unit. And then this documentary, we'll try and promote the channel, all the channels. And I also want to put maybe Paranormal Research Unit as the channel name too. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, that's like, people see like when they go to check IMDb for a paranormal investigator and they see actor. It's like, oh, they're an actor. And it's like, no, you have to have a title. You have to, it's for tax reasons, basically. There is no job title, paranormal investigator. And like I said, people see that, oh, actor. What else are we supposed to be called when it involves the TV or movie industry?
Yeah. Hello, Arden. Arden, you've been a follower for a long time. Do you think we should change the channel name to Paranormal Research Unit?
I have not seen Arden in forever.
I know, right?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. That's even like on TikTok. Like we had a client we had to help out on a case with, and she was doing a video, and you see this black figure dart behind her, which was a filter from TikTok. And this team was calling it paranormal. And I said, first red flag right there is TikTok. She's an actress. That should throw up a big red flag for you. Two, she was an alcoholic. She called me up drunk, and she's sitting there on the phone groaning like the horror movie Mama. And then when she saw I wasn't buying into it, she disappeared for like 10 days.
Yeah. I think I am going to do it.
Well, you do it.
I'm just looking at all the content on the channel right now. Like obviously it's a paranormal channel. Might as well make it team name. I just searched to see if it wasn't taken because there was an Indian group stealing my name from India. And so I was like, did they take that name? I want to see if they took that handle. They didn't. So I'm like, oof, I could take it right now. Oh shit! No, someone's gonna fucking take it. Ah! Oh wait, no, you have to have 100 subscribers to do it. But there's probably some people in here that have 100 subscribers.
Hang on a
No.
second. I'm doing a register right now.
Damn it, no.
PRU.
God damn it, no. I'm thinking about doing it.
Case files.
Your customize channel.
Well, we just reached our hour mark. If people want to get a hold of you guys to book you for Paracons or gigs or paranormal locations, how can they get a hold of you guys?
I mean, like if it's for business stuff, for like, either email, which is it is available on my YouTube channel. I really don't like to push my Facebook because I hate Facebook and I hate the amount of messages I get on Facebook.
I'll make sure to message you some more, Joe. Just kidding.
But yeah, my email is on my YouTube channel. And Matt's email, it's something grinder or something.
Oh my God. We need to confirm it's really you. This extra. Oh, okay. We need to confirm it's really me.
I don't know what Matt's doing, but anyways.
I'm changing the channel name right now.
Okay. So anyways, hey, Matt, why don't you give out your information? Because we're now over the time limit.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, right. Yeah, just follow the YouTube channel Paranormal Research Unit / Devil's Hour Productions because it's going to take a little bit for it to be fully processed through. So that's the main thing is my channel, the Paranormal Research Unit. And then also we have the my Instagram I like to use a lot too, which is Real Matt Benton. And that's also one of my favorite ones. So
yes, I have an Instagram too. Just don't bother me there. I get too many messages. And I got, my YouTube channel, Entity 7 Paranormal.
All right. If you guys want to hang out for a minute, I'm going to close out the show.
Sure.
I thank everybody for joining me tonight. I thank Joe and Matt for coming on and talking about their documentaries. It's been a lot of fun. And we will see you all next week.
hell yeah.